Oh my goodness, it has been a while. I'm so happy to be back. I had COVID. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's like a pandemic of sorts. I don't recommend it. It was gruesome, and my whole family got it. So I, I'm glad to be back at it and back in the shop. And we have a new project in store. We are going to build a loft bed for my daughter's bedroom. It's going to have a ladder. It's going to have some shelves underneath, some curtains so she can hang out down in there. She kind of wants it like a fort type of feel. I've got a couple ideas of how we're going to put all this together, but it should be a fun project. It's all dimensional lumber picked up at the big box store, the orange one, and then we're going to paint it all, probably with a spray gun, in the garage because it's still freezing cold out in Minnesota. Haul it up in sections to my daughter's bedroom and we'll assemble it in place. Good to see you again. All right, so this is this is how much lumber is needed for a loft bed. Got about 14 2x4s, a bunch of 2x2s. I've got 2 giant sheets of 3/4 inch plywood, a bunch of these 1x4 slats. This thing is gonna weigh 10,000 pounds, so bomb-proof, earthquake-proof, kid-proof. It's gonna be intense. I really went to town with these pocket holes. I know that they are slicker than pig snot on a radiator for most applications, but for this one, it's just not a sound choice. I think it's high time I graduate to dowels or biscuits. One little hop, skip, and a step wrong, and I would have kicked these things out, especially for those long 2x4s that were joined endwise. Is just kind of silly. All right, so we've got all the pieces, the main pieces, pocket holed up, glued together. So I did pocket holes and glue. So I've got the 4 pieces. I have to be able to bring all of these up into her bedroom and then assemble in place. There's no way this would fit through a doorway. For the pocket holes, the one terrible thing about pocket holes is how they look if they're exposed. Given that this is a paint grade project, I did pick up some of the pre-made dowels, 3/8 inch dowels. You can get these pre-cut. You pay a premium for that, but also it's just that much easier. So for me, it was worth it to just pay a few bucks and buy these. They are cut to be flat. Once you squish them into the glue, a little bit of sanding and you're fine. You don't have to flush cut them with a trim saw. So they're ready to go. After they're dry, they're ready to go to just sand it flat. So these work pretty slick. I do like these. So let me show you the pieces that we have here. All the pieces laid out. I'm gonna finish putting in these pocket hole plugs. Should be good to go. I'll get working. All right, while I'm waiting for those plugs to dry in there, I'm gonna work on the ladder. I'm just gonna build a pretty simple ladder. I mitered the edges here, like a 30-degree miter. I'm probably gonna round that off a little bit more. So I just marked off where all the rungs of the ladder will be, and I pre-drilled using this little guy, which is, it's a pre-drill pilot, and then it creates like a flat bottom to the hole. This is by Craig. Turns out I love Craig. Turns out there's a whole lot of cool products out there. But this one's neat because you can, once you pre-drill it, it's got the bit on the other side. I don't know if you're into that. So I pre-drilled all those. I've already got the 14-inch rungs, and now I'm just going to assemble those together. I'll get a 3/8 inch dowel and glue those in and then cut them flush. And end grain can be finicky, especially pine, that could easily split. I just don't want to mess around with it. So I am going to pre-drill the ends, but I need to figure out exactly where I need to pre-drill. I've already got the outside of the ladders, I don't know the terms of ladders, but you know, the stiles, if you will, I've got that pre-drilled. So I want to be able to mark exactly where those pre-drills are for the rungs. And the way I'm gonna do that is by using this Jimmy DiResta ice pick. Is skinny enough that I can slide this through the pre-drilled holes to mark in the end grain of those rungs exactly where that pre-drill will be. And then I'm gonna take it apart, drill all those pilot holes. These pre-cut wood plugs that Craig sells, they're supposed to be 3/8 of an inch. For some reason, the Forstner bit that I had used to drill these out, it's just got a little bit of a slop to it, so they don't fit as well in there as I would like. But I do have some plug cutters that I can use, and that might make this easier anyway. They're from Wen, and they look like this. Kind of a funky drill bit with a hollow center like that. And then that cuts a dowel with hollow around the center. You can actually just break that loose. And so now I've got a little chunk of wood dowel. Pretty snug. Fits a lot better than these. These, for some reason, are very sloppy in there, but these dowels with the 3/8 inch plug cutter work pretty good.
Hi.
All right, so Charlotte, here's what we have going here. So these things are the wood plugs, and we're gonna put glue all over them, and then so take the flat end, see how one's kind of a funky end? Take the flat end, and once we put glue all over it, smush it down in there.
Okay.
And that's it. We use this glue.
Why do you keep the glue in a blue container?
So it doesn't dry out. Good question. It'll be easier to dip into this. So here, I'll do one for you so you can see it.
Big.
Yeah. All right, so these I didn't glue yet, so I'll show you. So you can take this, and then you can actually dip it right in there, and then...
It looks like an ice cream cone.
Delicious. And then get glue all over it. It's okay if it makes a mess like that, because we're...
Then drop the ice cream cone on the floor.
Yep. So, just like that. So even if there's extra, that's perfect.
Perfect.
Because we're gonna, once it's dry tomorrow, we're gonna use the flush cut trim saw, and we're gonna zip these off, and then sand it all flat. So all that glue, we don't even care about that.
Okay.
All right, let's see it. Are you excited to have a loft bed?
Yeah. Which one is the funky end?
That's a good question. They're both kind of funky, aren't they? It doesn't much matter as long as you get it seated all the way in there, because you're not going to be able to see it, so it doesn't matter if it's totally flat. Just as long as you push it in all the way.
Because it would be like a good hangout place underneath it. And then on top, I would have like a really good sleep, and then I never had to complain that I was hot. Because I'd be right next to my fan. But I won't be having a fan.
We're going to have to take the fan blades off, aren't we?
Yeah.
So it doesn't chop your head off.
I don't want it to chop my head off. There.
Perfect. Good work. So the next step, because this is knotty pine, it's got gaps and knots are falling out of it left and right. It's got cracks in it. I want this to be nice paint grade ready. So I am gonna spackle all the voids throughout the piece. I really like to use this stuff. Any sort of vinyl spackling compound would work just fine, and anything that you can just sand up. I'm gonna paint it white anyway, so you know, you could do wood filler, you could do Bondo, doesn't matter, but to fill all the voids, I just want it to be nice and smooth when we make it a nice paintable surface. But I use this stuff, MH Ready Patch. I'm dedicated. You know, some things you gotta be dedicated to the brand. This stuff works so great, it doesn't dry out. Sand's really great, it doesn't shrink, dries fast, it's easy to apply. I'm just gonna dip in. That was a beast of a chore. That was a chore of all the, oh man. I can't feel my right hand because I was using a Ryobi sander, and it just makes your hands numb. I got them all sanded up, throw a coat of primer on them. So I decided I am going to spray these things for the enamel coat. So I primed them, I used rollers and paintbrushes, and that worked fine. Spraying it, I can at least lean them, and then I did go full Dexter here and built myself a tent, if you will. It's 3 sides, but this way it'll contain any of the overspray. I can lean the pieces against the garage there, and then using my Wagner spray gun here, I can lock and load with this sucker and spray them all down with the final coat with the enamel. I think this will go a little quicker. It's certainly more complex doing it this way, but hopefully putting up the plastic will keep the mess down from the overspray. About $20 investment in some plastic at Home Depot and some tape. So wish me luck. This is just pine lumber that I picked up. A lot of times that tannin and things like that, especially when you're painting white, can leak through your paint. So it's good to put a stain blocking primer on first. And then I used a white trim and cabinet enamel paint. And now I'm gonna bring up all of these panels and assemble them all together. So we are in the home stretch. So my wife is just a pure designer and found this wallpaper to throw on there, and we framed it up with, looks really nice. I think it really came together. She bought some curtains. Oh, hey, Rufio. This is my dog, Rufio. Who's a good boy?